Hi, my name is Rachel Tenpenny Crawford, and I am the co-founder of Teamotions, and I want to tell you all about our line of emotional well-being teas today. Some of you might have attended a tea tasting with me before, but probably many of you have not, and so I've wanted to put together a video for a very long time. My sister and I are just really passionate about educating others on not only the health benefits and well-being benefits of tea, but of our unique Teamotions line, because we have the one and only line of teas specifically created for emotional well-being. And I know that term is probably new to you. You know, what is emotional well-being? But for us, what it means is that we actually included adaptogen herbs in every single one of our tea blends, and adaptogen herbs have the natural ability to improve your body's response to stress and support emotional health and well-being. And so all of our teas are more than teas. They actually have this functional medicinal quality that improves how you feel emotionally and physically. And each blend is award-winning. The flavors are delicious, so they're also enjoyable. So we help educate people to combine the ritual of drinking tea, that 3 minutes a day, waiting for your tea to steep, the amazing aromas. All of the teas are beautiful. They taste delicious, but they're also effective. And so with every sip, you are helping to strengthen, calm, replenish, and just overall improve your well-being every time you drink Teamotions teas. And now let me give you just a little bit of backstory on our company. You know, I've been teaching educational tea tastings for a handful of years now. And I do them live, and they're interactive, and people show up, and we actually physically look and taste and smell at all the teas. But it's so much information that it's really important that now we get it out there. So that's what this video is for. I want you to get educated about what Teamotions teas can really do for you, and understand how they're more than just tea. You know, these are not the same teas that are sitting on the supermarket shelf. Not only are they effective and delicious, but they were created with a purpose, with so much love. The premise of our company is, my sister and I founded the company together, and back in 2011. And after a horrible tragedy in our family, my twin baby daughters, Aubrey and Ellie, died in 2008, a couple weeks after they were born. And at that time, I was a grieving mom searching for alternative things to help support me that were not prescription medication. And I knew that I needed something safe and effective, but I personally wasn't ready to choose antidepressants at that time. And when I looked and searched for something out there, I couldn't find anything. And so I turned to tea, because tea is, one, something I always loved, but also it's warm and soothing and comforting, and a wonderful way to comfort yourself when you need it. And one day my sister was visiting me, and I was probably on my fourth cup of tea, and she said, "Rachel, I wish there was something we could put in your tea that would make you feel better." And that comment ignited this idea where her and I set out to create tea that actually could make you feel better when you drink it. So we took these already amazing components of tea that are already there, this warmth, the comfort, the quietness, like all these qualities that tea already has, and we took them to the next level by adding adaptogen herbs to every blend. Adaptogen herbs are remarkable herbs that have been around for tens of thousands of years. They're used all over the world. They're not new, they're old. They're also very well researched. If you want to do some more research on adaptogens, there's some great books out there, but more importantly, look into the history of adaptogens. We can actually give a lot of credit to this former Soviet Union for doing really amazing science on adaptogens. They were looking for effective herbs that could help give their athletes and chess players and factory workers improved output in their quest for world domination that would also not disqualify them from Olympic competition. And so adaptogen herbs were what they discovered and researched, and all of that research became available to us when, the Soviet Union ended. And that's not the only research out there, but that's just kind of part of it. But it's all very fascinating. Adaptogen herbs are effective, they're safe. Their main function of an adaptogen herb is just to restore balance to all systems of the body. So they're always working to improve your body function. That is why your body can handle stress better when you use adaptogen herbs. It's why you feel stronger, but also calmer and more centered. Most adaptogens are not stimulants, although a few are, but most are not. So they do not exhaust your adrenals, so they're just strengthening, replenishing, centering, calming, amazing herbs that boost your immunity, lift your spirits, strengthen your, inner self. They're amazing. So we created these wonderful flavor profiles to go along with all of those adaptogen herbs, and each tea has a unique emotional benefit. The tea itself that we use, so let's just be clear, adaptogen herbs are classified as botanicals. Tea comes from the Camellia sinensis genus of plant. All tea has to come from that plant. So when you pick the leaves off Camellia sinensis, how you process those leaves, whether you steam them, dry them, cook them, oxidize them, is what creates white tea, green tea, oolong tea, black tea, and pu'er teas. Those are teas. There are, there are lots of things that we steep in hot water and drink like tea that are actually not tea at all. Your peppermint, rooibos, hibiscus, chamomile, those are some pretty common herbs, and in the industry we call those tisanes. When you combine tisanes and tea, Camellia sinensis tea together, we get fusions. So what Teamotions is actually 3 fusions, because it's a blend of Camellia sinensis tea and other herbs and botanicals, including adaptogen herbs. And then the other 3 in our original 6 line are only tisanes, because they do not contain any Camellia sinensis tea. They only contain herbs and botanicals. So kind of help you understand that not everything we steep in hot water and drink is a tea. Tea has to come from the Camellia sinensis plant. Another really important thing to understand about tea, though, is tea itself is remarkably healthy and good for you. And I'm not going to go into the deep science of it right now, but long story short, it has anti-cancer benefits, weight loss benefits, mood-enhancing benefits. It contains L-theanine as well as caffeine, so it can be both calming and energizing at the same time. The molecular structure of the caffeine in tea is different than the molecular structure of caffeine in coffee. It's easier on the system. First of all, there's less. The average cup of coffee has about 120 milligrams of caffeine. The average cup of black tea, which is going to have the most caffeine, has about 50, to give you a frame of reference. But that caffeine has all these phytonutrients, flavonoids, and catechins and things attached to that caffeine molecule that make it easier for your body to absorb, assimilate, and release. So oftentimes people who are sensitive to caffeine, who have trouble with coffee, can do wonderful with tea because it's a whole different physiological experience. I happen to be one of those people. I have to really watch my coffee because it makes me feel jittery, it gives me the shakes. But tea, it's perfect for me. I drink, probably 4 or 6 cups of tea a day at least, and I don't have any problems. So it's just, my body loves tea. So that, white and green teas are not oxidized. Oolong teas are partially oxidized, and then black teas are fully oxidized. So their flavor profile changes when that happens, or color changes, but they're still Camellia sinensis, and they still all contain caffeine. I hope that gives you an idea of the fascination of tea itself. There's a whole tea universe out there, and I encourage you to dive in and learn. It's amazing. The adaptogen herbs, there are many adaptogen herbs. It's an entire category. It's not a single herb. And I use different adaptogens in every tea. So I'll explain as we go through and taste each tea, learn about it. I'll explain the specific adaptogens in each tea, what they do for you, how they do it, the flavor profile, how to brew the tea properly, and it should hopefully blow your mind. So we'll get started with the teas. So as you can see, I have my pots. All the teas are beautiful color, and we're actually going to taste from lightest to darkest. So we'll taste the most gentle and delicate teas first and go into the strongest. We'll taste the first fusions, which is the Camellia sinensis tea and botanical combinations first. They all have caffeine. And then the last 3 that we'll taste are the caffeine-free herbal tisanes. I want to show you a tin really quick before we get started. I don't know if you can see that really well, but we are incredibly purposeful and thoughtful in every part of our line, of our blends, of everything we do at Teamotions. And Our logo is supposed to, it was inspired by a mom holding a baby, but it's a person hugging a teacup. And so if you've wondered what our logo is, that's what it is. We call it the Huggy Cup guy or the Huggy Cup person because it's somebody just cradling a warm, comforting cup of tea. And then our labels also explain the name of our teas, the flavor profile, and then the ingredients and purpose of what that tea. So, for example, I'll start with the first one because we're going to start with Fine Strength. Fine Strength says passion fruit jasmine green tea with jiaogulang and jasmine flowers to bolster inner strength and self-confidence, blended with fragrant jasmine green tea and tropical passion fruit. So that's sort of both the flavor and the purpose in a nutshell. And so, use the tins. They're incredibly informative. They also have ingredients on them, the perfect cup instructions. So they tell you the water temperature, steeping time, everything. And then we even have this sweet little part that's called Our Little Tip. And each one is different, but this specific one for Fine Strength says, as you sip, think of something kind you could do for someone else and do it. Empower yourself by serving others. So we just try to promote mindfulness. Each tea has a different tip that's meant to just inspire you and, make the experience just that much better for you. And then we have our story on the side as well. And we are so committed and dedicated to helping people take better care of their hearts, improve their emotional well-being, and be as healthy as they possibly can be. It's amazing what a cup of tea can do. So the first tea we are going to try is called Fine Strength. It is a jasmine green tea with passion fruit and jiaogulang. And I don't know how well, it's just spilling a little bit. I'll stand up. It's a beautiful tea. It has red flower petals in it, real jasmine flowers. It's a scented green tea, which means that while the green tea is drying, they actually layer it with real jasmine flowers, and the tea absorbs the real essential oils of the jasmine flower. So it's not sprayed on or flavored, it's actually scented during the drying phase of the tea. So it makes it delicate and beautiful, which is important to note because oftentimes jasmine teas, because they are expensive, they will take a green tea or black tea and just spray it with jasmine essential oil, or in some cases even jasmine flavoring that can be natural or artificial. If you've ever had a jasmine tea and you've thought, ooh, this tastes like soap or like a candle, then it's probably not scented, it's probably flavored. So look for high quality scented jasmine teas, and they're a completely different experience. They're subtle and delicious, and they don't taste like a candle, they just taste amazing. So we use a real scented jasmine tea with passion fruit, passion flowers, and jiaogulang. Jiaogulang is this amazing herb in China that they call the immortality herb. And the purpose of this tea is to foster inner strength and self-confidence. And jiaogulang, because they call it the immortality herb, they believe if you could consume enough of it, you would never die because its ability to foster strength, stamina, and recovery in the body. So all of that inner strength that you need, jiaogulang provides that. But jiaogulang is not a central nervous system stimulant. It is a natural vasodilator. So essentially, I'm simplifying this, what it does is it helps your body use its own oxygen more efficiently. It actually helps improve circulation all over your body without interfering or raising your blood pressure. It's an amazing herb. It's easy to blend with, it's delicate, it almost tastes slightly like cucumber water, but in this blend, the flavor doesn't really come through at all. What you get is just the subtle jasmine green tea. It's high in antioxidants. It has about 35 milligrams or so of caffeine per cup, so it does have a little bit of a boost that it can offer, but not so much so that you're overstimulated. This tea is excellent for any type of stress recovery. It's a great workout or exercise recovery tea. It's wonderful while you're sick or after you're sick to recover. It's great to travel with because it helps with jet lag and crossing over into different time zones. My favorite way to use this tea is I have 2 boys, and they come home from school at about 3:30, and about 3 o'clock every day I'm pouring myself a cup of this tea because it helps center me and strengthen me and transition me from work mode into mom mode, and I can be present for my children, feel strong and calm and centered, and it just helps my day go so well. I love this tea. Let's all hold it up in the light so that you can see it. It's a really beautiful color. It's just really delicate. It's excellent iced, so feel free to drink it cold. And when you taste it, it has a subtle floral note with that jasmine. It's very fragrant, but then it also has a little bit of that tart sweetness from the passion fruit. And it's just wonderful. It's one of my personal favorite teas, and I can't say I have a full favorite. That would be like asking me, who my favorite child is. I love all of these teas, and I created all of them with love and purpose. But if I have to say which tea I personally drink the most of, it's Fine Strength, because it just helps me feel so good. I wish you could taste it. We have an amazing sample set on our website. So if you are curious and you want to be able to taste all of the teas in our original 6 line without having to buy full-size tins of each one, we have an amazing sample set that you can get a sample of all 6 teas, plus a perfect tea scoop and fill yourself tea bags that all come in this beautiful branded bag with the brochure, so you can learn and taste. You have everything you need. All you need to do is find a mug and add water, so you don't have to buy special brewing equipment, because all of our teas are loose leaf. They're not in bags. But it's a great way to get started. So think about that. Think about treating yourself to a Teamotions sample set and tasting them all for yourself. All right, so the next tea that we're going to talk about is Discover Joy. This is Discover Joy. Again, it's a really beautiful color. It's a lemon, vanilla, green, and oolong blend with ashwagandha, oat straw, and lemongrass. And the purpose of this tea is it's a natural mood lifter. So if you're feeling a little sad, this is the beautiful tin. If you're feeling a little sad or bummed out, it just helps to lift your mood in a safe and effective way. Let's see if I can tip this so that you can see. Again, you can see the whole herbs, the whole botanicals, everything that's in there is visible. It's delicious. This tea helps to lift your mood in more ways than one. So the lemongrass in this blend supports your lungs. And whenever you feel sad or down, your lungs are the system of the body that sort of takes the brunt of that emotion. And so anytime you can support your lungs, clear out any gunk, open up your chest, breathe more deeply, you're going to feel better. And lemongrass helps with that. It works a lot like eucalyptus, but instead of tasting mentholy and gross, eucalyptus doesn't taste very good to drink. It might smell amazing in a sauna, but it doesn't have a good flavor. The lemongrass tastes sweet and lemony and bright, so it's wonderful to blend with. It's a great herb. Plus, it's incredibly effective lymphatic support herb, and your lymph system in your body is oftentimes, if you don't take good care of your lymph system, you can be very exhausted. So this just helps, empower your body to be, free and clean and clear and open. I also put ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is an Indian adaptogen herb, and it is remarkable. I was so impressed with ashwagandha, I almost put it in every blend, but then I decided that I would get a little bit more creative and offer more herbs than just ashwagandha. But they call ashwagandha the intuitive herb because it seems like it knows what's wrong with you and goes in and fixes it. It's like it knows you. And what we've discovered in science is that ashwagandha is such an effective rebalancing herb. Like, it's so effective at putting you back in homeostasis that it isn't doing something different. It's always doing the same thing, rebalancing. But because each one of us is unique and we have different imbalances in our system, it seems like it's doing something special just for us. So it's this really remarkable herb that's just constantly putting you back in balance, back in balance. And it's also very calming, a very centering herb. It's amazing. And then oat straw is not an adaptogen, it's a superfood. It's full of vitamins and minerals. It comes from the grass family, just like alfalfa or wheatgrass, which is a highly nutritious green grass family herb. And it's been used in North America for centuries to help with emotional upset, trauma, fright. It's just a really powerful sort of centering, strengthening herb. Has no stimulants in it whatsoever. It contains all of your B vitamins except for B12, as well as magnesium, potassium, and calcium. And your B vitamins are important because the more stress you're under, the more you burn through your B vitamins. So the more B vitamins you can put back in your system, the stronger your system can handle stress. The minerals, calcium, magnesium, and potassium, are what you need to combat anxiety, anxiousness, nervousness. So the more minerals you can put in your body, the better. Especially minerals have a lot of anti-inflammatory properties as well. So this tea just does so much to help you feel better. When people ask me if I only used one tea in your line instead of all of them, if you could just narrow it down to one tea that you think packs the most punch, which would it be? And I tell them Discover Joy, because it is just so inclusive of everything. It's calming, it's uplifting, it helps your mood, it's full of vitamins and minerals, it's hydrating, it even helps with weight loss and anti-aging. It just does everything. So it also has about 35 milligrams of caffeine per cup. It tastes wonderful. It's a really, really well balanced tea. So you have the bright note of the lemon, the low sweet note of the vanilla, and then the oolong and green tea in the middle that just sort of bring it all together. So it's just, I like to say that's sort of sunshine in a cup. It's good. Very, very tasty. Okay, the next tea we're going to look at is called Achieve Clarity. And I don't know if you're seeing a theme here, but all of our teas are named with verbs because we're trying to empower you. So we want to put a verb on that to have strength, joy, and now clarity. The other ones are peace, rest, and hope. And so we're empowering you to invite these things into your life. Achieve Clarity is the only black tea in our original 6 line. It has about 50 milligrams per cup, and it is a vanilla Earl Grey. That's the flavor, so it has real bergamot oil, vanilla, and a black tea blend. But then I also added holy basil and licorice root, because the purpose of this tea is it's a brain tea. This is for cognitive function. This tea is to help you think, help you study, learn, remember, comprehend. This is to clear those cobwebs out of your brain. This is to wake up your brain in the morning. This is to help you study for tests or anything that you need that's going to be using your brain. The holy basil in this blend is not only a very calming and centering herb, because there's about 50 milligrams per cup of caffeine, and so when you drink this tea, I wanted you to feel very alert and awake and functioning in your brain, but still very calm in your body. I don't want you to have the jitters or to feel wired. So the holy basil helps do that. It's highly nutritious, very beneficial herb. Sometimes you'll hear it referred to as tulsi, but tulsi and holy basil are the same thing. And it's just remarkably good for you. And then the licorice root is actually a brain care herb. So it is an adaptogen as well, but it actually helps with things like brain health. It helps to prevent, slow, in some cases even stop and reverse brain dementia and other brain deterioration issues. It's a fascinating herb to research. I highly suggest you do so. And so the combination of those two things just creates a really amazing tea experience. This tea is rich. The bergamot and the vanilla make it taste really delicious. It's the closest tea I have to a traditional English tea, so it feels familiar, it feels safe. This is a great tea to start with for people who feel nervous about herbal or medicinal teas, because this, even though it is medicinal, it doesn't taste like that. It tastes like the amazing Earl Grey your grandma used to serve with cookies and milk and sugar. And so I suggest that you start here if you're hesitant about herbal teas. It's really good. It's really smooth. Really smooth. So here's the tin. And then, I don't know if you can see as much in this, but it has really beautiful little blue flecks and pieces of herbs, and it smells really good. That citrus, that bergamot oil is nice and bright, but that vanilla rounds it out, and then the richness of the black tea just creates a really delicious flavor combination. Okay, so those are our 3 that contain caffeine, and now we're going to move into our tisanes that are caffeine-free. And now, just to be clear, we do not decaffeinate any of our ingredients. We simply use herbs and botanicals that just do not contain caffeine or any other stimulant. So if something says caffeine-free, that means the ingredients are caffeine-free. The decaffeination process is really toxic and yucky. unless it's a Swiss water decaf, which at best just really degrades the quality of the tea. So moving forward in your life, if you want to drink tea that doesn't have caffeine in it, choose herbs that are just naturally caffeine free. Don't use decaffeinated tea because it's just not good for you at all. It's unhealthy, it's dangerous. They use really weird chemicals to strip it of its caffeine, and there's just no reason to consume it, especially if you're trying to achieve health and emotional well-being. You don't need that kind of yucky stuff in your, drinking that into your body every single day. So the next tea that we're going to taste is called Seek Peace. We just got done with Achieve Clarity. The first caffeine-free is called Seek Peace, and this is a rooibos coconut chai with the liver support herbs, dandelion root, and milk thistle. It's a really beautiful tea. It really smells amazing. This is by far our best-selling tea, without question. All of the teas do amazing, but this one is head and shoulders. It tastes phenomenal, and it's very effective. The purpose of this tea is if you have pent up or stuffed in emotions, it helps you to release those things that are pent up so that you can restore inner peace. It is a liver support tea, so the dandelion root and the milk thistle, and now not to be confused, it's not a detox tea. It's just a liver support tea. So the dandelion root and the milk thistle just help support your liver, which anytime you support your liver, you're supporting your overall emotional well-being. And vice versa. Anytime you try to really be good to yourself and support your emotional well-being, it improves the health of your liver. Especially anger and frustration is really hard on our liver. And so this tea, the chai spices help to gently improve circulation in the body, to help move anything that's stagnant. The coconut is just delicious, and there's a tiny little bit of coconut oil that gets into the tea when you steep it in hot water that creates this really silky, smooth, delicious mouthfeel. I think that's the reason why this tea sells so well, because it doesn't have any of that traditional astringency that tea can have. Sometimes tea can almost make you feel like you have cotton mouth, you're just like, that's what that astringency is. But this does not. It's the main ingredient is red rooibos, which is this amazingly healthy herb from South Africa, packed full of vitamins and minerals, no caffeine at all. It tastes kind of similar to black tea. It's a very neutral, delicious palette to use. You add in the coconut and the chai spices, and you just get this smooth, silky, fragrant, delicious coconut chai that not only tastes amazing, a little bit of coconut milk in this is phenomenal, but it just makes you feel awesome inside. It just calms you, centers you, strengthens you, empowers you. It's pretty phenomenal. And it's so tasty. All right, the next tea that we're going to talk about is Enjoy Rest. Enjoy Rest is an apple cinnamon chamomile blend that won first place at the World Tea Competition in 2010. It is absolutely delicious, and it also is blended with red and green rooibos, orange peels, and ashwagandha. And the ashwagandha is the adaptogen herb in this blend that combines synergistically with the chamomile to create a tea that does exactly what the title says, rest. This tea is for rest. It's for winding down. It's for sleeping. It's for when you're, overtired. It's wonderful for kids, even babies. My little son has been drinking this tea since he was 9 months old. It just helps overtired children, cranky kids, anything, just mellow out. It's just anytime you want to take the edge off, Enjoy Rest is the tea to do it. And the calming chamomile with the balancing ashwagandha just work together in a very soothing flavor profile. Apple and cinnamon. It reminds us of traditional things. Those are comforting flavors. And so this whole experience is just the best to wind down. And I will warn you, you don't want to drink this tea if you have to use your brain. It really is for rest and when you need to turn your brain off. If you need brain function, you want to choose a different tea because you'll be too relaxed to think. It's really delicious. I serve this to my boys almost every night with a little bit of honey and milk. They love it. They sleep great. It makes them feel amazing. We probably get the most testimonials from Enjoy Rest, people telling us how much it just helps them sleep. and how much getting better sleep and more sleep has improved their emotional well-being. So they go hand in hand. And then the last tea that we're going to look at, real quick, the Enjoy Rest. You can see this beautiful, it's a beautiful color. It's golden, just like the chamomile. Our chamomile comes from Egypt, by the way, and it's wonderful. It tastes, I'm not a huge fan of chamomile. It can often taste kind of dusty to me or musty, but this chamomile is clean and slightly sweet, very fragrant and flavorful, and not to mention just very effective. It's a wonderful tea. Okay, so the last tea we're going to look at is called Have Hope. Have Hope is a peppermint cream. It's also completely caffeine-free. It's an absolutely beautiful tea. It has chicory root, real rose petals in a base of peppermint and spearmint grown domestically, organically right here in Oregon and California. I also have white chocolate shaved into the blend. So it's vegan. It's just cocoa butter and organic sugar. We use, by the way, as many organic ingredients as we can. So we try to use the highest quality ingredients as we can, and all of our teas are blended in an organic facility. So, and they're blended by hand. So they don't see a machine. A real human puts a lot of love and intentionality into these blends. So this tea also contains St. John's wort, holy basil, and oat straw. And the purpose of Have Hope is it is for worry, angst, nervousness, anxiety. So anytime you're just not feeling well, you're feeling on edge, you just can't seem to relax, this tea will just center you right down. And the St. John's wort, holy basil, and oat straw are what help to center you. So this is a great tea if you need to calm yourself during the day, but you still need to function. You're not ready for like a tranquilizer, like Enjoy Rest. You just need to be centered, but you still want to use your brain. Have Hope does that. It's not for making you go to sleep. It's just for calming that angst that you may be feeling. And the St. John's wort is primarily what cultivates that, because St. John's wort is highly effective at helping with mild to moderate depression and anxiety. And I encourage you to look into the St. John's wort studies. I feel like St. John's wort has gotten a bad rap over the years, but the German studies are pretty phenomenal. They gave people St. John's wort tea, and they really saw improvement to mild to moderate anxiety and depression. So I would head there, do your research, and I think you'll be very impressed. I know I was. And then the oat straw, just like we talked about before, is full of all of those B vitamins, all B vitamins except for B12, and then all of the minerals, calcium, potassium, magnesium. So you're just getting more nutrition, you're getting the things that you need to support yourself in when you're, anxious. And then the holy basil, the same thing. Holy basil is just a wonderful regulatory, calming, and centering herb that's delicious and full of benefits. All blended with peppermint, chicory root, rose petals, white chocolate. It's wonderful. I also know people love this tea iced. You can drink all of our teas iced, but the best ones, I think, are Find Strength and Have Hope. But it's totally up to you, because I know people send us emails all the time that they drink the teas in all different kinds of ways, hot and cold and mixed, and they love it. So you get to adjust your experience and decide the way you want to start using Teamotions. Now that you are educated and informed and understand how powerful these teas are as tools to cultivate your emotional well-being. And real fast, I want to go over the 3 minutes a day that Teamotions way. So part of what makes Teamotions teas so effective is not only these amazing adaptogen herbs in every blend, but it's also cultivating a check-in ritual where every day you brew your tea and you spend the 3 to 5 minutes while you're waiting for it to steep checking in with yourself. And at Teamotions, we call this 3 minutes a day the Teamotions way. We have 3 check-in questions. The first question you ask is, how am I feeling? And when you can put emotional vocabulary words on how you're feeling, then you want to discover the second question, why am I feeling that way? So what's going on in your life, in your heart, in your head that might be, underneath that feeling or emotion? And then the third question is, how will I choose to respond instead of react? So you sort of take your power back and decide that you are going to determine the way of which your heart will go, and you're not going to allow yourself to be at the mercy of circumstances, and do your best to cultivate emotional well-being. And just to be clear, emotional well-being, it doesn't mean feeling happy all the time. What emotional well-being means to us at Teamotions is the ability to equip you and educate you with the power to take control over your emotions and your heart back so that you don't feel like a victim of circumstance. Life can be tricky, days can be stressful, but giving you the tools and the information, education to say, even if I can't control what's going on around me, I'm going to take better care of my heart. And that is what emotional well-being is to us. And so sometimes our teas are used to comfort us through hard times, to help us cope with stress during stressful times, but it also can be used to honor all of the good moments, the joy, the peace, the clarity, the hope, the rest. All of that can just be part of your life. And when it is, we want to celebrate it, recognize it, honor it. And when it's not, we want to find out why and do what we have to do to restore those things to us. So I hope that you learned a lot. I would like to ask you to please, if you have a friend, a neighbor, a family member who immediately popped into your head while you were listening, thinking they need to know this, they need these teas, this would have been so helpful to them, or it would be right now, please share. Like, don't keep this information to yourself. Let people know that Teamotions is so much more than tea. Like, we are not a tea company, we are an emotional well-being company, and we are dedicated to helping you take better care of your emotional well-being, you and all the people that you love. So please, pass this video on. Don't forget to go to our website and check out our options. I already talked about our sample set, but we also have tins, refill packs, teaware, beautiful gift boxes, more resources and information. We talk about adaptogen herbs, and you're going to see more and more stuff popping up. So share it with yourself, do your research, go on the website, but please tell others about it, because I know that somebody, maybe even more than one person, popped into your head, and all you have to do is share this link, and they are going to get access to all of the same information that you just did. So please help us share, help us touch hearts, help us grow. The more people that learn about Teamotions, the better this world is going to be, because all of us deserve all of the tools, resources, and support available to take better care of ourselves, to be our best selves and live our best life possible. So thank you, everybody. We'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your feedback. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, write me a comment. I'm happy to answer. And I look forward to hearing what you have to say. And thank you for your time.